You are listening to Sexploration with Monika. And today we are going to take a juicy bite out of avant garde fine artist Nancy Peach. Thank you so much for coming on Sexploration with Monika.
It's my pleasure.
I love the way you say pleasure because that is why I have a podcast about sex, is because I want to make there be more pleasure for everyone, men, women, and everybody else. And I want it to be, fun enlightenment and fun for everyone. And I think that's why you create your art. Is that close?
Oh, it's definitely fun.
Right?
I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it's freedom of expression.
totally.
Yeah.
And we also have your muse, Chaos, who's going to be going to be in one of your exquisite paintings.
Yeah.
A big one.
Yeah. I'm
So
so
looking
excited
forward to
as a
seeing
pleasure
that.
facilitator myself. It's truly an honor to be in your world.
Yeah, and I can't wait to hear more about how you facilitate pleasure, because that seems very important on this planet. And thanks again for coming on Sexploration with Monika. We'll be back in Two Shakes of a Lamb's Tail. You are listening to Sexploration with Monika, and today we are going to take a juicy bite out of avant garde fine artist Nancy Peach. Thanks so much for coming yet again onto Sexploration with Monika, because what has it been like? 4 times now at the supper club and all over the place.
Yep. I hope you don't take too big of a bite out of it.
Oh, but that's the fun part. I'll be gentle. I'll be gentle.
Oh.
And we also have Chaos here, who has a number of very interesting sex positive talents that I am super looking forward to explore.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So let's dive right into it. I heard that there was like a huge moment where you were like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing this erotic thing.
Yeah.
And you've shredded art.
Yeah.
Shredded it.
Shredded it and threw it in the trash.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to put a death to that part of me.
Mm.
And I wanted to recreate something completely different that was acceptable to the world. And I really felt like I could do it. And it just popped right back up.
Well, okay. So I understand because, it is hard to be sex positive, and there's many ways in which, the hegemony is like, hey, be like everyone else. You have to make money. You da, la, 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 la. And the way, and I know that there are huge challenges, especially for making money and all these ways of being that is kind of enculturated in our systems, right? And so I'm wondering, what were the challenges, a few of the challenges, and then what really changed your mind and made you like, oh, wait, actually, this is who I am. This is who I am authentically.
Yeah.
And how are you going to be who you are authentically? And then also, I don't know, be true to the parts of you that were like, this is hard.
Yeah, I didn't really have any boundaries before. And I was
boundaries
really
are key.
a drug addict and an
Right.
alcoholic.
Sure.
And my kids pointed that out a few years ago. And I thought, if I'm forgetting things and blacking out with
Right.
them, I'm probably doing that with my business or whatever I'm doing. And so I went into treatment, took myself away to a the Sierras,
Some
and
healing.
it's been 3 years, and I'm
Oh,
now
congratulations.
completely sober,
Yay.
no mind altering anything.
Yeah.
And my children are now 24 and 26,
Uh-huh.
totally accepting of my life. And
Yay.
in fact, think I'm a real mentor for them in their art field. And my daughter actually has been calling me from Chicago. Mom, you're going to want to paint this burlesque person who does
Oh,
piercing.
yeah.
And sending me pictures of like, Mom, look at this. And I thought, oh my God, the kids support me, because that was one of the big reasons I quit,
Right.
because they did not, they grew up. Sophie was 7 and Ryan was 10, and it was a big deal. And
Well, it
I
was
don't,
maybe scary.
well, I
And weren't
don't
you
just
like a church
paint.
lady or something?
No, I went to do the church thing because I took a
Oh,
break from erotic art.
right.
I was never a church lady. I thought I could, alter my mind,
Yeah.
get away from being an erotic artist,
Yeah.
because there was so many freaking opportunities that just led me down the wayward path of promiscuous sex.
Not
And
that there's anything wrong with being
no,
generous with your genitals, but you
but
have to do it in a conscious way. Otherwise, it does kind of
yeah.
hurt.
And I wanted to leave my husband, and,
Right.
things, I ended up with a grand mal seizure because I was addicted to crystal meth. So,
Oh, yeah, that's bad.
yeah, I was partying way too much
Mm.
and scared to daylights to do erotic art again,
Mm.
even though it just lit my fire.
Right.
I mean, when I saw Bondage for the first time with Luke DeGray, I was like, oh
Mm.
my, that is
Mm-hmm. It
beautiful.
is really beautiful.
So beautiful, so
Hmm.
beautiful. And
And the
these people,
surrender.
and
Hmm.
the people are so specialized.
Aren't
And
they?
oh, I was so honored to be allowed to be in their space, I
Yeah.
felt, and I needed to portray them.
Hmm.
And so,
And you have done so many beautiful, huge paintings of these really remarkable characters.
yeah,
I mean, let's talk about some of the work that you've already done.
yeah,
Lillian Hunt,
yeah,
that huge painting,
yeah.
she's such an interesting character.
Yeah, 20 feet tall. It hung at the Armory for one whole year on the fourth floor. Who didn't know who Nancy Peach was? As a female erotic artist, it was wonderful. And, painting everybody I painted,
Yeah.
there was a soul involved.
Mm,
They're living a proud, out there life. And it
right.
was like, for me to portray them in a way that there was no shame.
Yeah, and for people who don't know what the Armory is, it's like a kind of a BDSM. It has some dungeon spaces. I mean, there's a lot of different,
They filmed porn there
yeah,
for
also
years.
that.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
have events. I mean, it's a whole thing. It's a whole part of San Francisco's
It's closed
culture.
now,
Yeah.
but gone away. But it was a period of time
Mm-hmm.
that for me, I just felt like I was the queen bee in a castle.
And it
said,
really
"This
is
a
kind of a castle. Yeah.
I was like, I didn't see it as a dirty, dark, taboo thing at all in my life. I felt like I was a documentarian,
Mm.
documenting, kind of like Toulouse-Lautrec used to go to the brothels,
Mm-hmm.
and he would paint the sex workers and everything. And I was like,
Well, sex is proof that God loves us and wants us to have fun. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any more babies. You have to have sex in
yeah.
order to make more babies. So clearly, there is something sacred in sexuality.
And any sex that you find to be good for you, or sexuality, or gender,
Yeah, whatever makes your freak flag fly,
yes, is all good.
as
And
long as it's
all
not
good.
hurting anyone.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
totally.
Censorship has to go.
Yeah, it's really hard because, I mean, people get really scared when there's so much freedom, right? And it's hard, especially, when you're trying to make money and have kids and da, da, da. I mean, all of these little spaces where, how do we exist in a plural field? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? How do we express ourselves safely and non-judgmentally, but also with gentleness and care for everyone involved. I mean,
I
it's
mean, we're brought up to regulate. We're all
totally.
brought into sin, right? They all say that we're all sinners and we got to pray for you guys. And
Well,
I have friends that are doing that all the
not
time for me.
there's
You
a lot of
know?
ideas
Yeah.
out there, yes.
Yeah. And so growing up and like I'm having fun now. Like
Yeah.
it took a while because like after my first show when I met Chaos, and that's why Chaos is here because I was invited to this show at the Baltic Kiss, long story, and I saw the most beautiful people, and I was so excited for the first time in a very long time. I hadn't done a
Yeah.
show since 2017,
Mm.
and I ended up making a connection with a couple of people there and asking them if they pose for me. 4 days later, I rented a house. It's in Swimply. I got a pool, and Chaos mentioned, well, if you need another person, me and Treasure would be totally down. So I was like, the four of us went and met with not a very nice welcome from the guy that
Oh,
owned the house.
wow.
Yeah.
And you mean he basically shamed you or told you to stop doing what you're doing?
Yeah, well, he wasn't supposed to be there.
Mm.
He was supposed to be not on site. And so when we all showed up, the four of us, um, you know, five of us actually, he came running out and said, you need to leave. We're not going to do this. I don't want to show up on some porn site. And I said, what makes you think we are shooting porn?
Anything, not that there's anything wrong with porn,
Yeah.
but you weren't shooting
No.
porn.
No, and it made
Yeah.
us all feel very uncomfortable.
Sure.
Like,
To be shamed
yeah.
and excluded from wherever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had brought like beautiful gauze and I was going to have them floating around in the water.
Hmm.
I was so nervous, and it just made me remember the challenges of doing that type of
Trying to be
work.
sex positive.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I know. It's
It's
a
not easy.
journey. It's a
Yeah.
journey.
And I'm
For
just
sure.
so excited about it. You know? I had some reservations after the first show because I was so excited about it. And I was really afraid of my journey being blown out of the water,
Mm.
maybe not being able to stay sober and maybe having, being unhappy, just,
Fear. Mhm.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And how do I keep my boundaries? And
And my friends.
yeah.
My friends are like, why are you painting that less than normal stuff again? Are you okay?
Less than normal. As if there's some benefit to being
Right?
normal.
And what is normal?
Yeah,
Right?
totally.
So,
Let's perpetuate the dominant culture paradigm some more. Whee! Oh, wait.
so
I
this
feel
is
so
really
empty.
the launching.
Yeah.
This is the birth.
The rebirth. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. I feel I'm a vessel for this portal that I need to put out there to the world.
Yeah.
And
Well, tell me more about your new work. And I'm so looking forward to talking with you, Chaos, about, sort of your sex positive explorations, some of your projects. Yeah, tell me
and
more
how
about
does
what.
it feel being just meeting me and
Yeah.
all of that little journey in the last
Yeah.
few months? Like it's
We'd
been
love to hear more.
amazing.
Yeah, you were just saying how you feel like you're a vessel for this portal of freedom, for pleasure, for whatever it is. And I feel it's mutual. I feel like the time that we met each other was a rebirth for both of us in that way.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And yeah, the work that I'm doing I'm producing a show called House of Chaos. It's a deliciously curious queer cabaret.
What do you mean by a show? Like a performance?
It's a show. It's about a 2-hour show.
Okay. What's the venue?
the venue, it got its birthplace has been the Baltic Kiss.
And that's
Oh,
where I was
okay.
And
invited to.
that's how we
Got
met each
it.
other,
Oh,
actually.
okay.
And yeah, it's a stage for queers who want to show any type of their own art.
Oh,
So we've
nice.
had things like somebody doing drag for Freddie Mercury and playing the piano.
Oh,
We've had
so sweet.
pole dancing, drag kings,
Uh-huh.
burlesque, puppeteering. Really, it's just like a space for people to share their art and creativity. And I do food burlesque. Um,
Food
yeah,
burlesque.
Yeah.
it's burlesque with food play.
Oh
Yeah,
my God, it's like
raspberries all over
splooshing
my
or something.
penis.
Yeah,
Squinching,
yeah,
splish, what-
totally, totally. And I have been
Erotic
diving into
food.
my own like
Ah,
kink play, and so
nice.
recently my performances have included a lot of BDSM play. And at the last one, I did a piece with this new paddle that I just got that kind of looks like a cheese grater. It's got holes in it,
Oh.
and I had no idea that smacking raspberries on somebody's
And
ass with
cantaloupe
that would
seeds.
and cantaloupe would spread them behind me, and I
Oh,
definitely
so it
showered
like
Nancy's
All
art.
over my
Sprays.
paintings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I was picking off raspberries. and
gosh.
yeah. It was,
Oh, so that was maybe not so great for the art.
They
in
will
that
just
It washes off
moment.
really great with
Oh,
soap water
okay,
and
so
the
it was
paint
all good.
line.
like, darn, I
Good.
bought these and now
So
they're
raspberries,
done.
bring on the raspberries.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine.
In
Yeah.
more
More
ways than one.
raspberries.
And that thread of being portals
Yeah.
for other people, for like their awakening
And healing.
and healing,
Because
exactly,
BDSM can
is-
be so healing.
exactly.
Well, and
yeah.
the way you did your show where you ripped up, was it the Catholic?
It was it,
Something about-
with Sinead recently passing, it was definitely like,
Sinead O'Connor.
yeah, and just like a head nod to their life and the battles that they fought so that other people could walk in their most authentic self and their freedom without fear. And so this piece that I did was the storyline of like coming from religion and idolization of these gods, to where we are persecuting ourselves and others around us to fall in line with these, scripts that
Yeah,
were handed.
totally.
And
Yeah.
so in the middle of the piece, I did stand up and tore a picture of the Pope, the same one that Sinead had done. And the roar from the audience, because the audience is also mostly queer, and those who aren't queer, are still facing their own oppressions.
Totally.
I think just like seeing that image and being reminded that we are so powerful and we don't have to be afraid and we don't have to succumb to these religious archetypes and storylines. And the end of the piece was using lots of different types of BDSM tools to play around with food with Treasure, who was my
Who's also in the picture.
yeah,
by the
yeah.
way. Yeah.
Treasure loves to volunteer to be on stage as an object of my messiness. Yeah, it was
Your
really
passion.
beautiful.
Yeah. So tell me more about what you find healing. Oh, okay. What do you find healing about being messy?
My mom hates that I say this, but it's true. I grew up in a religious cult. And so
Which one?
aren't they all?
Well,
I mean, most people call it religion, but it was a non-denominational section of evangelicals. And at the time, I'm 47 now. At the time, it was before the internet.
sure.
I grew up in the base of Mount Rainier in a small logging town, so I had nothing but my church,
That family.
that
right.
family, and
And the way that they did their thinking, right?
exactly, which was the only way that I knew to do my thinking, and I
Right.
didn't really break free from that until my Saturn returns, till I was 28, till
Oh
I
my
discovered
God.
that I
Yeah,
was
the
queer.
Saturn return, right?
I've always lived on the fringe in everything that I've done, but really, like, having come out, then, like,
Yeah.
have just kind of broken open in that. And so when I started doing burlesque, I'm honored by like producing art that other people have done in the past, the style of burlesque. But I honestly was a little bit bored, and I wanted to challenge the audience to think past, okay, cool, I'm here. I'm going to see these people. They're going to reveal their themselves in different ways. You know, and then at the end, I'm gonna maybe see some titties with pasties on them. You know, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, we've
Yeah.
done
Yeah.
that, right? I
Yeah. You
wanted to
want to
look
challenge
to the
them.
audience and
Right.
see them turning their heads and questioning things in their mind and, you know, having their jaws drop because they
Right.
never expected that. And also maybe that they could see, oh, I could do something like that, or like, you know, food play can be sexy. It can be something that turns me on. I
Yeah.
can bring that into my sexual experiences, or,
Totally.
you know, so I started playing around with food on stage for that purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, creating that messiness, I think, is just a way for me to, for my own self, my own healing, bust out of the prescribed, you know, ways that I thought that I was supposed to be, like keep things in line, keep it tidy, be your, you know, wear your best for the Lord, you know, and instead I'm
Mm,
trying to now,
right.
like, you know,
Forging a new
I'm like,
paradigm.
what's the weird, how can I push
How
these
can I be?
boundaries with this? What can I do with these foods that will
Mm-hmm.
inspire other people?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my
That's our
Your new
next
thriving
big
in
jam.
messiness.
Yeah.
event.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how about you, Nancy?
What?
What really brings you to like your new self? The one that you, I mean, I feel that you had to tear something up and let something go.
Yeah.
But now you are like, okay, I'm ready to start and explore. What are some of the things that you're focusing on?
You know, people, real people inspire me, you know, because a lot of times I'll go to a show. You know, I've been to a couple of your shows now, and I hung my art on the stage. So my art was the background. A lot of people come up to me, oh, I want you to paint me. It's like, you don't inspire me to paint you. You have to understand that it's not just the outside of someone. It's, you know, I have to use their stage name, Fleur, coming
Oh,
through the state, like through the audience the first night in July. This gorgeous, tall, sort of Amazonian, beautiful person, and you know, a totally they person or whatever. It's like
mm-hmm.
just a very strong, beautiful
Kind of
being.
gender variant.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and it reminded me of a beautiful horse with this gorgeous hair and everything. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I want
Mm-hmm.
to paint you just
Mm-hmm.
because of your strength
Mm-hmm.
and just the way the power that you came through the audience to the
Mm-hmm.
back. And I got their information. And then later on during the evening, I mean, I'm there for 5 hours and I'm watching this amazing person walking around with these huge 6 or 8 inch heels with this outfit on that just has like a line in the back and a crisscross and just like no short, just almost naked. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, wow, they feel really strong about
Yeah,
themselves.
and they're free.
And they're beautiful and they're
Yeah.
free. And
Mm-hmm.
then they did their performance on the pole.
Mm-hmm.
And then floor and the
Mm-hmm.
person on the pole embraced and I said, "Oh my gosh, they're together."
Mm.
I have to shoot them. I
Right.
do have to paint them.
Right.
And that's how I get inspired. It's like this freaking lifestyle. And then
Mm.
meeting Chaos right from the beginning when I met Chaos and I had my first meeting over there, just their light and
Mm-hmm.
their beauty and their and then working with them, you know,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't get stressed at all, even though nobody came to pick up my art. And, you know, it's like
Even
just
though life
working
happened
with
and
chaos
things
was
did get
wonderful.
messy in a way that you sort of didn't
Very
really.
messy.
Yeah.
The joy I felt of the audience, the freedom of the
Yeah.
audience, just everybody, I was like, I am home. This is so much fun. And I was
Yeah.
completely sober. And I
Well,
was like,
joy, right?
joy, exactly,
Yeah.
and exuberance. It was
Yeah.
1:30 at night, and I'm like, I have to move all my giant paintings now, and I'm so jazzed.
Yeah.
And I couldn't wait to
The
paint them.
energy
So
of creation.
I booked a house, and the
Yeah.
4 of us went and we photographed, and it was like, oh, this
Yeah.
is amazing. And I
Yeah.
got the pictures, and now I'm painting them, and I'm super happy, super
Yeah.
happy. And my biggest thing is I've got to just make these ones happen and then we'll see what happens next.
And wait, there's more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
There's way more.
great. Yay. It's
Yeah.
so wonderful to have you both on the show. I mean, I'd love to hear more about anything that you're intending to create in the future, either of you.
Yeah, we were just talking today. We went on a walk before coming here, and we're just talking about how we must collaborate.
Right?
Yeah, there's so
And
many different ways.
collaboration is so, I mean, it's so powerful.
Yeah.
Like among our communities, and, how do we, be authentic to ourselves and work with other people and share the love and joy
And
that
trust that the other person is going to have your back
yeah.
and you're going to be in alignment. I would love to work with you, Chaos, because
I
your
would love to work
energy
with
is
you.
just amazing.
Yeah.
And you build me up in a way that makes, she told me my work is important.
It is
so
important.
important. It's so
It is important. It is really important to
And
let your
that
freak
makes
flag fly.
It's really important that I need to document this. Like
Mhm.
Carol Queen said years ago that I'm a documentarian. And
Yeah,
I'm
Carol Queen.
documenting
Hmm.
Yeah.
a culture that could go away.
Oh,
and
it's true. And
especially
so
right
easily.
now.
I mean, especially with the Trump administration and all that nonsense. I mean, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to be on the other side of that, but there's always going to be another side, that's anti-sex, that's anti-expression, that's anti-freedom,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. But
And-
you have to stop and not listen to them. You just have to not listen to them.
That's part of it,
Yep.
for sure. And have good boundaries, exquisite
Exactly.
boundaries, and
Exquisite boundaries.
And also, maybe live in your own bubble a little bit. Like
Yeah.
have your friends and be
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
we're bubbling over here.
Well, also what I've been doing to build myself up and my confidence so
Mhm.
I don't get scared
And don't get sucked into your
Yeah.
own darkness,
I've been
right?
watching
We can all be there.
YouTube videos. I
Mm,
just
yeah.
spent 2 days watching about Georgia O'Keeffe. My God, what a powerful woman that
Yeah.
was. She was the most famous woman that sold a painting for 44 million. That's like huge. Then I watched all about Andy Warhol, and now I'm watching about Picasso. It's like
Yeah.
they're avant-garde artists,
Mhm.
and they're powerhouses. The avant-garde are the people that they send in the beginning of the war that do the first charge.
Mm-hmm.
That's me. I'm going to do the first charge, and I want to get censorship taken down. Like I can do that with my giant bold art.
Bravo.
job
Let's
to
do
do.
it. Yeah.
And, as somebody who lives on the fringe, I can just say it feels so empowering and safe to have you there.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
You know,
that.
like early on getting to know you and hearing about the production of work that you did before and why you did it, and sharing that, you really were trying to not normalize, but just the way you talked about your subjects was how they're royalty, and the work that they're doing is so important, and you wanted to document that and show that, and to be on the fringe and be celebrated in that way and have someone in your corner in that way is so powerful, because most often when we're on fringe, we're met with all that resistance. And your work is important.
And when you show it with gold leaf and gorgeous royalty, it is royal.
Yeah.
And you own it. You will have a transformation. We were talking about that today.
Transformations.
She's into transformation. I said, oh, you're
Yeah.
butterfly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Butterflies
because
are
we
for
were talking about transcendent brainwave states
Yes.
and how important that is to both BDSM and Tantra, and how we are changed, and how art can change us, and also sexuality and, collaboration.
And just being here, this marks a journey of beginning for me. And seeing you again, we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I'm excited to see more about what we're going to explore together and create.
Yeah.
So thank you both so much for coming on Sexploration with Monika.
Thank you, Monica.
Yeah.
Thank you also for the work that you are doing.
Yeah.
Oh,
it
it's
is
my pleasure.
So important.
Yeah.
It's my
Yeah.
pleasure too. I really
Yeah.
enjoy your show.
Totally. So thank you so much for coming on Sexploration with Monica. We're here at the Edge Studios here in downtown San Francisco. Thanks so much to my token straight guy, Paul Brumbaugh. I really appreciate your hard work. And how can people find you guys? Nancy, how can people find your art?
So right now, I told you I went into the underground, but I got my website name back, my domain,
Cool.
nancypeach.com, which is not up yet, but please look for it. But Nancy Peach Art is my Instagram.
Nancy Peach Art.
Nancy
Okay.
Peach Art. You can find me there.
And we have some of it over your head right now. We have Dr. Fleur.
Yeah, such a good one.
That's the one that's on my wall right now. That's 4 foot by 6. And then this one is the one with chaos
There you go.
and
Okay.
treasure.
Treasure.
And how about you, Chaos? How can people find you?
My personal Instagram is Surviving Chaos, and I have a new Instagram for House of Chaos, which is House of Chaos Cabaret. And if you're queer and in the Bay, I also run one called Homo Hangs with a Z, where I try to promote all types of queer events. So send me your events and I will share those.
And we have an event coming up.
Oh, we do have an event
Oh,
coming
yeah.
up.
Yeah, we're
Tell us
going to
more.
unveil the final paintings.
Yes,
Ooh,
and you
oh
are
la la.
actually the first to know. House of Chaos has had its birth at the Baltic Kiss, but we have outgrown that. And we are expanding, and our next show will be September 28th at the Ivy Room. Holler if you want to participate.
And holler, you're going to have a
just
great
holler.
time.
It's going to be a great show.
You holler so much at these. I can't even talk after these events. They're so much fun.
Yay! That sounds so awesome. Okay, good.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you both so much for coming today. And thank you for the Edge of Insanity. And yeah, here
Yeah,
we are
very
on
new.
Sexploration with Monica.
You've never heard me so quiet during a podcast. There you go.